Hi there guys and welcome back. Today we have an update video for our TCG Business UK edition. Can you tell that took me a while to record? I'm not the best on camera, so bear with me. I'm getting used to this whole thing with YouTube. So today we are going to be going over everything from the setup fund that we got, the startup costs, and then our last month of sales. We'll also talk about the direction of the TCG Business, the YouTube channel, and what our future plans are. So starting with how we got started, we found our old collection, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! We decided to try and sell them. We listed them both on Facebook Marketplace, just as the whole collection. There was a bit of interest in the Yu-Gi-Oh! But not a great lot in the Pokemon, not as a whole collection. People were messaging asking for individual cards, binders. They didn't want all the bulk, basically. So we started looking at breaking it all apart, what we could get, started listing a few things on Facebook separately, and then started going onto eBay. We posted the Yu-Gi-Oh! Collection on eBay as well, and that sold instantly. So we'll go over the numbers for that later. And we got a few sales almost immediately for some of the higher end Pokemon stuff. So we decided, right, well, let's have a look where this can go and what we can do. And here we are 1 month later. We'll let you know how we've gone. So to date, eBay has around 1,400 in sales. A lot of that, a big chunk of that, about 500, £550 is our startup fund. We sold some of our old tech. So I got some new stuff at Christmas, decided to sell some of the old stuff that I don't use anymore. So a Switch, 2 old DSs, an old flight stick, a few little bits and bats that were lying around. But that, with the sales from the actual Pokemon stuff and the whole Yu-Gi-Oh! Collection, left us with a nice chunk to get started with. We purchased some sealed products, so we had some stuff to open on our channel, and we also bought a collection off one of our friends. But we went through that as also on the channel, just so you guys can see what it is that we got in. Primarily, I am using YouTube as a little bit of an advert for the eBay. I am posting everything that gets listed. Hopefully some of you enjoy the little shorts, some of you might not. But the videos obviously is the primary use of the YouTube, hopefully to direct some people to eBay. I also have a Facebook in the same vein. And then I have an Instagram just to be able to share things back and forth. So the plan ultimately is to see how far we can take this. We're going to start growing the business into something. We're going to buy more product in. We're going to buy more collections in and list everything and see where we can go. Another plan that we also have is, so we also picked up a card repair kit off Amazon. It's got everything that we're going to need in there. I also bought a little roller separate as it didn't come in that set. So we're going to do some card repairs. I have a few cards that are light damaged, just a few creases here and there, stuff that I'm hoping I can get out with this. So down the line, we could hopefully look into grading. If I've got something there to prepare the cards before they go for grading, that will obviously help out a lot more. So the next thing is the reinvestment. Everything that I'm going to be making will primarily be reinvested in, whether that's into the business or into the YouTube side of things. Better cameras, better microphones, just try to make things a little bit better for everybody. I have obviously been using some of the funds for my day-to-day life, just mostly because my work's very quiet in the winter. That's what's giving me the time to focus on the TCG Business UK edition. But obviously, I need funds to survive, to live. So I have been dipping in and using that. And then each time I buy something for the business, i.e. a new camera, a new microphone, new supplies, I will count that as me owing the company some money. And then whatever the sale is from that will then get reinvested back into the company. Anyway, let's do what we're here for. Let's get into some numbers. I'll do a little switch here so you'll see the screen of all the numbers, and then I should go into a tiny little screen. Hi there guys, so I've sat down now just to make it a little bit easier for myself. So the first thing we have there is the startup funds. I did a load of stuff on eBay. Like I say, I got a load of new stuff around Christmas time. So the stuff we listed was a Quest 2. There was a few bits wrong with it. The tracking was going off on the joysticks. There was a bit of damage to the headset, so we sold that for 40 quid. I got a new flight stick for a space game that I play on PC. So I sold my old flight stick for 40 quid. I sold a new Shape 2DS XL for 145. I sold new Shape 3DS XL for 180. And then I sold a Switch OLED White Edition for 150. And we paid £20 fees for that on eBay. So that is our initial startup fund. I also was messing around a little bit with stocks for the last 6 months, maybe, just on a little app called eToro. So I managed to pull all of that out at a little bit of a profit, around £20-30. So we also included that into our startup fund as well. And then if I want to get back into that down the line, I'll just reinvest that out of my own money. So that was £220. That's a nice little startup, really. Our setup costs is what is next. We bought a large top loader binder. We bought 2 or 3 packs of top loaders and sleeves. I then bought another lot of 600 sleeves. I bought the cardboard storage trays to store the cards in, unsorted and then listed on eBay. And then I bought envelopes, 100 bubble envelopes and 100 hardback cardboard envelopes. I may go over that in another video of how we do things, how I ship things, how I go through my orders. So we'll go through all of that later. I bought some card sheets just to wrap around the orders. And then over time, we bought things like more envelopes, more stickers for pricing if we go to card shows. I bought a sorting tray just to make things a little bit easier while I'm sorting out the cards into sets and alphabetically. Collector to pay for, that just allows us to keep track of our collection. It does keep track of the monetary a little bit as well, but eBay last sold is far more useful. So we'll start going through some of the card sales. We sold a Mewtwo GX tag team, a Latias GX tag team. They were 115 together. We sold the whole Yu-Gi-Oh collection. That was £500. We sold Celibate and Venusaur. That was £30. We sold Garchomp and Gartina. That was £21.50. We sold Evolutions Mewtwo Cracked Hollow. That was £5.98. We sold an Espeon and Deoxys. That was £35. We sold a Mega Gardevoir. That was £26. We sold a Muck and Alolan Muck. That was £12. We sold Arisharam and Charizard. That was £44.50. And then we started selling some singles as we started listing the stock that I had remaining after posting some of the larger cards as single cards. So we sold 12 Evolution singles at £22.80. So I did start putting adverts on these listings. So that was £3.84 in fees for that. And then they paid £1.55 in shipping. So to the setup costs, I also bought a few books of stamps, second class and second class large letter. So in all of the sales, I'll include the £1.55 or 87p for the postage, just so that it reflects in the profits and expenses, because I have put down the expenses for the stamps. And then lastly, we sold a Dragonite reverse from either Team Up or Sun and Moon, and that was £5 plus the £1.55 postage, and we paid £1 on fees for that. So a total of sales was around 800, and then we had a few fees. Obviously, I've got things down for February as well, which I will do at the end of February in another update video. We also made some purchases throughout the month. Purchased a Destined Rivals ETB at £88. I bought 10 packs of Surging Sparks at £55. I bought 2 ETBs that both came with a bunch of packs. They were £108 for one, and then £83 for the other. One of them came with a blister pack and a couple of extra packs. That's why it was a bit more expensive. I also bought a collection off one of my friends. That was £450. And then I also bought 19 packs of Phantasmal Flames, which was around £90. So that was everything that we spent throughout the month. Okay, and finally we'll go over the totals. So all of the sales, including the eToro stocks, adds up to 1,631. That's why there's a little bit of a difference between my eBay sales and this, just because we had that extra £200 there. As I say, I will be reinvesting that into the company as I buy more stuff, and then we'll just take it from there. But our total expenses so far are £1,104. This is all of the product that we purchased and obviously the collection and our startup costs, which leaves us a total profit of £526. As I say, I have dipped into this just for the sake of living, just for the sake of surviving, just for what I've not been getting paid from work from being off over the winter. As I say, I will reinvest that as we go. So I hope this is something that you are interested in, watching the progress of the business and having the update. I will do that every month just to keep track of what's going on. Enjoy. Thanks, guys. Bye.